Welcome back to the Daily Dope Show. Today we're going to bring back an old show that I did a couple times. It was when there was a barrage of news and there's like no way I could keep up with all of it just by doing clips and weekly shows. So I did this thing where I could get through a whole bunch of stories really quick by just kind of like going through my Twitter feed and showing you all the stories that I reshared throughout the week or whatever. And I guess we're going to do that right now. We probably won't make it through too many of them because I don't really have a whole lot of time, but we'll do what we can and see what we got here. So also I do have some chat. There is a chat open. I'm not really paying attention to it while I'm doing the clips, or not the clips, but the news stories. But I will, when I get done kind of like going through the timeline a little bit, I'll check at the chat, and if there's anything going on, like if anybody wants to add something, or if anybody, I guess, has a question for me or whatever, just making sure here that everything's legit. So the chat, everybody should be able to see the chat. All right, so where are we at? I just thought this was cool, little video. Let's go ahead and watch it. And again, I want to make sure my levels are right. So
a 12-year-old girl is spearheading a campaign to legalize medical marijuana across the whole country. Alexis Bortell says she and her family had no choice but to move from their Texas home to Colorado to treat her severe epilepsy. Now her family and a handful of others are suing Attorney General Jeff Sessions and the DEA. They're demanding cannabis for the treatment of their illnesses, diseases, and medical conditions. Barry Peterson spoke with Alexis. He is in Denver, Colorado with her story.
That's why I pulled this video, is because I haven't really shown a video of Alexis talking. She didn't get to go to the court case in New York City when they tried to get the dismissal taken care of. And the dismissal got taken care of all right.
Barry, good morning.
Good morning. Well, here at Medicine Man, they grow a lot of the marijuana that they use in their pot products. Now, even though marijuana is legal in Colorado for recreational use, there's still a debate about its value to treat medical conditions. But one family thinks this is nothing less than a lifesaver.
Well, ever since I've been on this cannabis, I've actually been seizure-free for today. It's 974 days, so we're coming up on 1,000, so I think that's pretty good.
Pretty good indeed, because this was once the life of Alexis Bortell. Seizures every few days, as seen in these videos taken at the direction of her doctors. Her parents say epilepsy medications didn't work, and there was even talk of brain surgery.
What do you call epilepsy?
Well, I call it my seizure monster.
But this seems to tame the seizure monster, an oil made from marijuana taken twice a day. Her family lived in Texas, where they couldn't get the oil they needed, but they could in Colorado, where both medical and recreational pot are allowed. For her father, Dean Bortell, the decision to move here 3 years ago was an easy one.
I would die for her, right? So the least I could do is uproot my life and give her a chance at the exact same freedoms and future I had.
You'd do it again?
Twice on Sunday.
Are you adjusted to being here?
We've been here about 3 years, so we're adjusting.
Alexis hopes the lawsuit will make medical marijuana legal across the country.
Do you think it's unfair that this medicine is not available to everybody in the United States?
I think it's really unfair because I feel like they're basically punishing us because we're sick.
But some medical experts are not sure. Jacqueline French is the chief scientific officer of the Epilepsy Foundation.
We really need more research to find out what's helping, what's hurting, whether people should opt for this over some other options that they may have.
Alexis has turned...
All right, hold on, though. So the question that she's posing is, what is working and what is hurting?
Jacqueline French is the chief scientific officer of the Epilepsy Foundation.
We really need more research to find out what's helping, what's hurting.
All right, so when we need research to find out what's helping and what's hurting, The anecdotal research that you just seen before your eyes is definitely worth 1 million of your so-called double-blind placebo trials in the lab that take 10 years to get through the FDA. So I don't know what she's stumping for, because we haven't seen anything about in the way of harms. What's hurting? What's hurting? This is probably an overall theme of tonight's little show, is that we have a lot of evidence for cannabis doing good things. We don't have any evidence for this thing that they're talking about where cannabis is hurting people or kids or anything else.
Whether people should opt for this over some other options that they may have.
The problem with that statement is that all these kids that you're talking about, at least in Alexis Bortell's little clique, are what you call medical marijuana refugees. They literally did try everything else, and it was literally harming them. And some people have had the surgery where they cut your brain to interrupt the signals of these seizures. I'm not sure if that's the exact thing going on with that surgery, but that sounds like that's harming people. So, you know, when you're talking about people using cannabis to treat these seizures, most of the people that I've found out about or read about or, you know about myself personally have went through trying everything else. And you'll hear a lot of people make the statement, oh, you know, we heard about this cannabis treatment and, you know, it seemed like, you know, it was really miraculous, but we wanted to exhaust all the other things that we could try first. And, you know, I have a big problem with that, because the reason that people are so apprehensive to just jump right into the cannabis for treatment for the seizures is because of the stigma. I mean, the stigma is so powerful that people that are literally have like debilitating conditions that they know cannabis can help them with don't want to do it, because either they're afraid of the buzz, and in a lot of cases they're even, you know, the buzz can be negated with CBD or whatever. You can just not even include THC on some of the things that CBD can treat. Excuse me. So it's just really frustrating to hear the Epileptic Foundation lady. Let's go one more time and hear what she has to say. It's upsetting.
Jacqueline French is the Chief Scientific Officer of the Epilepsy Foundation.
We really need more research to find out what's helping, what's hurting, whether people should opt for this over some other options that they may have.
Alexis has turned her epilepsy into her cause, making soap and donating the proceeds to charity, even writing a book. But all she really wants is just to be a kid.
And does it make you also feel more normal in your regular life?
Yes.
Why?
Because I can, let's say, have a sleepover at a friend's house without having a seizure.
Why did you think people would listen to a 12-year-old?
Well, I feel like it wouldn't really matter because it's the right thing to do. And I don't think I need to be over 18 to do the right thing.
The DEA and the Justice Department both turned down a request for an interview. As for Alexis, she lives this new normal one day at a time, but she hopes that the marijuana means the seizure monster will never come back. Vlad?
And yeah, like I said, I know this is old news, old clip, but I feel like this is kind of like an ongoing story, and the more I can introduce people to the people involved in that lawsuit, the better, because it just humanizes everything a little bit more. What else do we got here? Don't forget to order your THC, Contains THC shirts. Speaking of Contains THC, Massachusetts decided to Massachusetts has passed some regulations. I'm not sure where. Let's go ahead and read this. Or let's check out this video.
Warning signs will be included on all marijuana products once legal sales begin in Massachusetts. The Cannabis Control Commission voted Tuesday to require a marijuana leaf image on all products. It's designed to tell people that the product contains the drug THC. Retail marijuana shops could open here in Massachusetts as soon as July.
Yeah, I had an image of that. This one's a little different than the one in Michigan. I'm not going to look it up. right now, but just for reference, it's the triangle is the other way around. It's like a red triangle, and it has a pot leaf, and it says contains THC at the bottom. So it's just a little bit different, not much. Oh, and one other thing. Let me see. Maybe I put it down here. Nope. Just more plugs for my shirt. But anyway, another thing that they have is a label that says warning, not safe for kids. And I have a little bit of a problem with that. Again, like I said, the label this time is shaped like a stop sign, and it just says not safe for kids. Now, you might say, well, what's your problem with that, Brandon? That seems pretty legit. You know, you don't want kids out there eating brownies and smoking, you know, weed, right? Well, the thing about it is there's no scientific, once again, there's no scientific evidence to tell me that cannabis is dangerous to kids. And I'm not on here advocating for kids to be using cannabis. So YouTube, please don't shut my channel down just because I said, hey, this label's a little shady, because it is. It's actually one of the planks of Reefer Madness is to scare parents by spreading the myths that marijuana can cause damage to all kinds of things. They're talking about developmental damage, brain damage. If your kid is slightly depressed or whatever, basically if you're going through some teen angst, the marijuana can turn you into somebody that has schizophrenia, apparently. And I mean, the Reefer Madness around that plank of the Reefer Madness that they've been using for decades now you could write a book about all the different ways they warn you that marijuana could affect you while you're developing or whatever. And it's a big deal. Like even in Canada recently, they were debating on what the legal age of consumption for cannabis would be. And, you know, they batted around the idea of 19. And the more conservative viewpoints for that is that the age should be something like 24 or 25, 26, 30. Because, you know, the brain's still developing until you're in your mid-20s, apparently. And this is one of those arguments that they've been using for a long time, and it's based on nothing. There's absolutely no science to back this up. Every study that they claim that they can point you to is always the same bullshit correlative data of people that are already, like, forced to fill out forms in some kind of a, you know, detention kind of situation. So, all right, whatever. They don't interview everybody that smokes weed when they do those correlative studies, is all I'm saying, okay? So Kentucky medical marijuana bill has been shelved. Let's see what that's about. Oh, we're lucking out on the videos today.
The reason that I made the motion, if we would have voted on it, it would have been defeated. This way it keeps it alive to make those tweaks and might be able to get the 3 or 4 members to vote yes and then move it forward this session.
So it sounds like it's a matter of timing. They just ran out of time. And I even tried to promote a little bit on Twitter, but you know, I don't really have that big of an audience, especially in Kentucky. If you live in Kentucky, tell your friends about my channel, please. But anyway, yeah, I was trying to promote this like a month ago, like, hey, these guys are really working on this, but they're going to run out of time, and sure enough, they did.
So you think there's still a chance that this moves forward to the House for a full vote this session?
That's right. We're going to have to make those tweaks. I don't know, you know, we have to get both sides to agree to the changes that need to be made. But if we can make them, I think we have a shot. If we would have voted today, it would have been defeated, and the issue.
You keep saying that. Let's see if it tells you anything about what's in the bill. It would require doctors to recommend medical marijuana before a patient could get it. It would be distributed through a state-regulated dispensary. A city or county would have local option to allow medical marijuana. If local governments didn't act within 2 years, residents could petition for a vote similar to a wet-dry vote. So they're treating it a lot like alcohol. No word on personal grows. Oh, right here. He said he believed medical marijuana can help people, but he does not like the several provisions in the bill, especially the one that would allow each medical marijuana patient to possess up to 12 mature cannabis plants. This seems excessive, he said. Excessive to who, man? And like I always say, plant counts are arbitrarily limiting things in some kind of a weird sense that, you know, says that it really depends on how much space you have. Like, you can make 12 plants take up a whole half of an acre if you grew them big enough or whatever. Or you can at least like make a whole room, like you can have 4 lights on 12 plants, and that would be some pretty nice plants. Secretary of State Allison Lundgren Grimes, who formed a special panel last year headed by Sims to work on medical marijuana legislation, said she hopes NEMA is serious about reaching a compromise. Quote, I truly hope this is not a tactic to stall or kill the bill, Grimes said in a statement. I'm counting on Representative Nemens to keep his word, craft a meaningful compromise, and work to get House Bill 166 passed this session. Kentuckians overwhelmingly support medical cannabis. They are tired of waiting and will remember inaction at the ballot box in November. For sure. We're going to remember that everywhere in November. That's something the politicians out there better start waking up to. Like, I still hear Democrats talking about being tepid about the issue as if, like, there isn't 73% average in polls of Democratic voters who say they're for full legalization. And when it comes to medical marijuana, we're talking in the 90% range for most Americans. I think when you look overall, it's in the 80s. Like, if you put even the farthest right people that don't want marijuana legalized in any way, shape, or form, they're getting very few. There's slim and none in some areas. Puerto Rico's medical marijuana is growing exponentially. This is happening all over the world. Like, medical marijuana is growing exponentially all over the world. No one doubted that it would. Alexis Bortell was at Women's History Month, was awarded here, celebrated, so that's cool. Industrial hemp is soon to root in South Carolina, so I'm sure it's been a while since they've grown industrial hemp there. Let's check this out real quick. Now, a lot of people are moving into production hemp. I don't know what this picture is. Here's some weeds. By the way, we're going to grow some hemp. 20 farmers have been approved to grow industrial hemp. One of the farmers, Nat Bradford, said he has been waiting 20 years to be able to grow this crop. I feel you, buddy. This is fiber, this is grain, this is cold-pressed oil. He points out all the different uses for the plant. In 2017, South Carolina passed Bill 3559, known as the Industrial Hemp Bill. It's a pilot program for 20 farmers, and they're going to work with local universities. So they're still in the university phase, which is part of the 2014 Farm Bill. But since then, it has been expanded to allow states to go ahead and grow industrial crops of hemp if they feel like they're ready for it. So another half measure, but at least they're on the right track, and they're doing it. Like, there's still a lot of places that aren't really doing a whole lot with hemp. Unfortunately, I live in Michigan, and we're one of them. Here's a great resource for Kratom. The Chapman Action Network. It's basically, they follow kind of, you know, the way I can describe that real quickly for people that know Tom Angel. This is like the Tom Angel of Kratom. All right. Like, they follow every piece of legislation worldwide and any kind of news things happening with Kratom. That's where you're going to find out about it. And again, that's Chapman Action Network. You know, I can go ahead. I think I can remember to put a link to that in the description after I'm done filming this. I'll try. So yeah, they basically keep up state to state. And they do things, I guess. I don't know. Well, like I said, it's like when you know Tom Angel and you're trying to keep track of weed articles. He basically has them all, and he writes them all. And there's your story about Massachusetts again. Maybe they got that picture in here. Let's check. Nope. And what would be so hard about that? I've seen the images, so they're out there. I guess I could Google it. And Connecticut, we have a medical marijuana There was something that happened there today. I can't remember what it was. But Connecticut does have 4 bills concerning marijuana legalization. Man, what was that happened out there? Let's check over here. Maybe they've been talking about it. I don't know. But anyway, like I said, they have 4 bills right now on the floor, at least. I ran into this today. IHOP will not serve seat guest with strong marijuana odor. Thank you, Magnament. I don't know who wrote that, but it sounds pretty lame. Then I ran into this article from Newsweek, and it's kind of, I don't know, I didn't read it yet, so I'm not going to really talk too much about it, but they're basically talking about how the VA helped push a lot of people into these opioids, and it looks pretty interesting. It's kind of like one of these new Newsweek investigative type things that they're doing. It's a little bit, in depth. I wouldn't have expected this out of Newsweek, to be honest. Like they've changed their tune. Like a lot of those old publications like Time and whatever that made magazines, they kind of died off, or they're dying off slowly, like dinosaurs walking into a tar pit. These guys, they keep coming with some really cutting edge stories, especially about the drug war. So interesting story if you want to check that out. Jerusalem has a bill to legalize cannabis hanging out. So there's that. This is good stuff, man. Here we have another marijuana candidate. There's several of them coming up out of the woodworks, and I'll be talking more about candidates that run on marijuana in their platform between now and November. So, wherever you live, maybe I'll run into whoever you got. And if you know something about somebody that I don't know about or haven't talked about that's running and has marijuana as part of their platform, go ahead and give me a mention about that. That would be something I might look into. This guy's running against Ted Cruz in Texas. And to be honest, I read through here, and it doesn't sound like he's got that bad of a chance. Even though he has churned down big corporate donor money and secret money or whatever, I guess. Has he churned down super PAC money? I'm not sure. But they're talking about, like, he's only got, like, a 2.3 million, or no, he outraised Cruz 2.3 million to 800,000 in the first 6 weeks of 2018. But they're talking about he's going to need, like, at least 10 million to beat Cruz, because you're talking about a statewide campaign. And what a statewide campaign in Texas means is, that's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of legwork. You got major cities on every corner of the state, and then you got rural areas where he's already been going and hammering, and his success has been that he barnstormed Texas for months, drawing surprisingly large crowds in small and medium-sized cities that statewide Democratic candidates have neglected for years. Bingo. See, now this is what Bernie did when he was campaigning. He went to places that I haven't heard of a Democrat coming to town to campaign in a long time, including my own area, Flint, where he came here twice overall. So anyway, like, yeah, whatever's going on here looks like something very interesting to watch, to say the least. Now, how much of a platform is he running on with marijuana? I don't know yet. I haven't seen any, like, real details about his platform. Just that he has a lot of progressive planks in it, and marijuana legalization being one of them. And I think the question is in here somewhere. I'm trying to find it. Unfortunately, all my highlights disappeared, and they didn't come back. Of course, something would go wrong. So far, all these live streams, every one of them, something has went wrong. 2 out of 3 of them have dropped the connection. So anyway, I guess I'm not going to be able to find that, but it's in this article somewhere. This is a Dallas Morning Star article that was republished by the Cannabis. And so there's that guy. His name is Beto O'Rourke. And yeah, good luck beating Ted Cruz, man. I think there's a possibility the pendulum is swinging even in Texas. And Trump has helped pushing that pendulum, believe me, even in Texas. So Illinois has a poll out. There's been a few polls out lately, because it's election season, believe it or not. The primaries are in full swing, and quite frankly, the primaries are over in a lot of places, and it's not the primaries, but the caucusing for whoever's going to be, I guess you'd call that the primary, whoever's going to run for whatever. In a lot of these littler races, some of the actual elections are coming up, so it's time to start paying attention now, guys. 66% want legal weed in this new Illinois poll. So yeah, what more is there to say to that? This is the way it is everywhere, guys. People aren't stupid. Even people that only watch mainstream media news are starting to figure out that the propaganda against weed has always been bullshit, but that, you know, there's really no reason to continue believing any of the reefer madness that's available out there, including that one where you're saying, you know, this thing's dangerous in general. Well, let's go back to that for one quick second. When they put labels on things like that are dangerous, they never put just specifically kids, like, hey, this product is dangerous for kids. You know, like alcohol, the dangers are for everybody. Cigarettes, the dangers are for everybody. I'm sure they have like specific things for, like, if you smoke cigarettes before you're 18, it can cause brain damage, because they say that about everything. Is there science for that one? I don't know, you know, but smoking cigarettes does cause a lot more damage to everything than anything else. So we have this other candidate that's a cannabis candidate, whose name is Benjamin Thomas Wolf. He's running in the district that is Chicago. Let's check into this. Yeah, actually, let's just go to YouTube for this. Maybe. I don't see why not. Okay, here we go.
Cannabis candidate, and that's what he calls himself.
Yeah, seen in his latest political ad, sitting in front of a painting of the American flag and holding a joint.
Joining
How do you even know that's a real joint?
us now is the congressional candidate from Chicago. His name is Benjamin Thomas Wolf. Wolf is running for incumbent Mike Quigley's spot in Illinois' 5th District. He is also a former FBI investigator and national security official. So that shocked us.
Kind of looks like a chiseled out, like, comic book character, you know, like Superstar, like Clark Kent style dude.
We were a little bit surprised by that. Why do you think that you should be holding the joint, smoking that in your campaign as you're running for office?
That's a great question. Thanks for having me. I think it's important that we actually start talking about legalizing cannabis. This is medicine for tens of millions of people in America. It can bring billions of dollars in tax revenue to Illinois. And really, it's the first component to completely overhauling and transitioning the criminal justice system here in America.
Benjamin, when this image went around the Twitterverse, and we saw it as well, obviously you got a lot of attention because you're smoking a joint right there. You know, people are wondering, does this guy smoke weed every day?
Come on, Deucey. What the fuck kind of question is that? Who cares? And what does that even matter, man? I don't know.
I don't use cannabis every day.
See, I guess that's some kind of a litmus test for people that don't know much about weed. They're like, oh my God, that stuff just makes you laid out like a zombie all day, don't it? Like couch lock and shit. So, you know, if you do that every day, you're pretty much not going to be able to run for fucking office or even work in government. Because, I mean, none of these people are allowed to do these things that they're doing. Like the government, you know, politicians, like he's saying, FBI, you can't fucking work for the FBI and smoke weed every day, right? Because they think it's like, they've always been taught that it's something that it ain't, you know, and something that's much more weird and intense, or I don't know. So
it's a routine part of my life, but not every day.
But it's a stigma we need to break. So I wish this guy had a little more nuance to his answers, to be honest.
You were with the FBI. Were you smoking pot?
Never. It's not an authorized substance. Clearly, you go through intensive background checks, polygraphs, lie detector tests, and physical tests. And no, I had to smoke cannabis
of having a brain, though,
until just a few years ago.
So it's kind of an interesting thing to focus on. Why not grab a beer or a bottle of whiskey and say, "Vote for me"?
That's not what it's. That's not what it. I don't understand that. That's not what the tone of the image was about. You know, the image wasn't about like, hey, I'm sitting here smoking weed, dude. I'm cool. Vote for me, bro. That's not what it was about. I think that the picture is worth 1,000 words, no doubt about it. But for you to take it as that kind of is more reflecting on you than it is on him. So you acting like it's some kind of a party bro like move. No, it ain't. It's a, like he said, it's a move like, hey, I think it's time we start having this discussion. And that's what it fucking looked like. This guy looks like nothing but business sitting there in front of the, you know, whatever, like, it's just, come on. I have no words.
You know, I think, like I said, the cannabis community has been standing up, saying this is very important. And again, we're standing by what we talk about every day. It's important to walk the walk. We're taking big risks here, and I think that the Democratic Party right now is looking for new leadership, and I look forward to leading the pack.
What do you...
You know, I have to agree with them there. I've been screaming this shit since before last year's election, before 2016, I should say. When I first started this channel, I've been talking about this the whole way through. The Democrats they're basically idiots for not taking this issue and many other issues by the horn. But he's got a really good point there. Like, it's time, like, people are hungry for Democrats to start taking the lead. And when he's saying, when he says that, he don't mean taking the lead and getting donations from donors, Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer. He means take the lead as in grab one of these issues that everybody's hungry to see someone act on and take it by the horn and go with it. So, you know, criticize them all you want about your little bro, let's smoke a doobie jokes.
What do you say to the people, the moms out there that are raising kids and teaching them to say no to drugs? What do you say to the people who say it's a gateway drug, or to parents that have lost their kids to overdoses?
I'd say you need to just say no, K-N-O-W. That's how you learn about drugs, is you learn about drugs and you separate them and you teach them the different ones, that there are different drugs out there. That's how you handle that.
Well, I agree with them. I think that no one under the age of 18 or possibly even 21 should be using cannabis. Again,
I agree with that too. Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying that's not how I lived when I was younger, but I don't think that it's for everybody. And as far as having laws to mandate that shit, it just depends on who you want to have get in trouble when your kid gets caught with smoking weed. Do you want the cops to handle it, or do you want you to handle it?
And it's a referendum here on March 20th. It's on the ballot. I think it's important that people look at all the facts and vote the way they feel is important.
Right. He's talking about the referendum in Illinois, and all a referendum is you're asking the population, hey, do you want to legalize marijuana? Because they can't do like a ballot initiative and whatnot. So they basically, the government is asking the people, hey, do you want us to legalize marijuana? And that's what's going on in November.
Mr. Wolf, you know, as a former FBI guy, that marijuana is still considered under federal law a Schedule I controlled substance.
We never get to have a conversation with anybody on the right or even in the mainstream media in general. I'm just going to put all mainstream media on notice. Can you ever do a fucking questioning session with somebody about marijuana without bringing that point up?
It's against the law to hold and to have, and you're in Illinois essentially breaking the law.
I'm okay with that. I see that as an act of civil disobedience and standing up for something that I feel strongly about.
Right. So you want to go to Washington, D.C. to try to change the marijuana laws?
Civil disobedience.
Well, I want to go to Washington, D.C. for a lot of reasons. Just one of them is changing the cannabis laws.
Mr.
We want
Robinson.
things like universal health care, free education, strong unions, and again, cannabis is just one of those aspects.
And in a state that's overrun in red ink, do you think everything free is a good message?
Well, you know, that's kind of what Illinois is, just like a lot of other states, especially in the Rust Belt, where A, the economy got taken away, so all those people that had those good GM jobs, they don't have those anymore. And then B, your Republican governors kept giving the billionaires and the corporations shitloads of tax breaks and the billions of dollars, and that's what happened to Illinois. So whatever, man, this dude on the end, I suspect he's a drinker, just based on his questions. Heavy drinker.
Well, not everything free. I think that, again, legalizing cannabis brings billions of dollars to the state. It's one of the most important things we can do right now to help fund education and other drug initiatives.
How did you get to this point? How did you become, you were against it when you were an FBI agent, or you didn't use it, and then now all of a sudden you're using it and putting it in your campaign ads and saying that it's illegal, but you're still taking part?
I am. I think it's an evolution of me as a person. Again, I was an FBI national security official for many years. I was a United States diplomat. I served in Iraq on multiple assignments. I served in
I almost feel like this guy's just a psyop, to be honest. But we'll see what happens, man. And by the way, a little plug here. I'm not sure if Dave's watching. I seen him earlier in the chat. But we are, over at DC 420. He will be there. Let me see. There we go. Here's the chat. All right, I'm gonna check the chat out for a second. Yeah, Clark Kent, man, for real. That guy is crazy fucking chiseled. Yeah, I felt like this was a pretty good show today because quite frankly, I didn't notice, but man, there was a lot of video, and that's kind of like how I like to run these retweet shows. Yeah, this the overdose thing has been crazy. Like that report that came out from the CDC, it's no bullshit. Like, I just read a story that was a couple years old about how in Florida they basically tried passing this law in this one county where you have a limit on how many times you can go to the emergency room with an overdose. And I'm not sure what happens if you go there after your third strike or whatever, but like, are you serious? And I think what it really did is it gave people discretion at the emergency room. Like, if you had a bunch of overdose people come in, but yet there was a car wreck person that came in too, and they're going to bleed to death, but instead these overdose people might die too if you don't get to them. I think that's bullshit, because you got naloxone, which basically anybody can administer. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to that, but it sounds to me like we need to increase the staff at hospitals right now if you want to do something about the overdoses, because that's the only place they know to go is the fucking emergency room. And we're back down to the stories that I just did earlier, but oh yeah, we had one more tweet from Alexis where she was talking about Governor Abbott. She said, Texas, here's a voting guide from the WFAA. I'm not sure what that is. You can check that out real quick. But anyway, after years, Governor Abbott still has never met or talked with me. I think I will vote for Wrinkles, my bull mastiff, before Governor Abbott. That's just me, though. Yeah, I think you should vote for that dog. And then we're back down to this, which obviously we've been through this story, and Kentucky has punted medical marijuana down the road. And here's where I got that Just Say No from. It was a San Francisco Chronicle blurb. So I'm usually not a big fan of weed puns and making wordplay with drug war news, but that's the best one I've ever seen right there. Effective drug education should be just say no. And I'm going to wrap this up. I will look at the chat again. Say hi to everybody. Oh no, Brian just got here late. That's all right. I'm probably going to do another live thing like way later tonight. Probably not actually. I just did all the stories that I had. That's kind of cool. But yep. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this because I still haven't even ate yet. I've been like busy today. And one more time, contains THC. And I have shirts available. I'll put that link in the description as well. Yeah, I kind of like this format. I might do some more of these retweeteds later on. Definitely the videos lined up was pretty awesome, so I think I might just line up a bunch of videos for the next one for sure. And that'll do it, man. Thanks for tuning in, and everybody have a good day. And don't forget to tune in to DC 420 LA on YouTube, and he's also on Weed News, Weed TV rather, and I don't really know all the other platforms, but I'm sure if you go to the YouTube, and you can basically find another platform if you like one that's better than YouTube for you, because he's starting to expand, which is something I'm going to get more into later, is trying to get more platforms, because I'm getting, like I said, kind of scared the whole YouTube thing. All right, man, that's it. Have a good one, guys.